Hayley,
Hey, there's a familiar face I haven't seen in a while.
how are you?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm all right. The sun is shining today here.
It is here in Nashville too, which is nice because we've been having like 30-degree, and I'm from up north, so I'm like, I thought I was gonna get away from this, but yeah, the sunshine is nice.
I'm in Nashville today too.
Are you?
Yeah,
Oh, and I'm like, well, the sun is shining here too.
it's
Where are
like
you at? I'm over by the airport. Where are you?
east.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
East Nasty.
that's right. Yeah.
So, what have you been up to since the world got crazy? I know you get that question a lot, I'm sure, but everybody has different answers. So,
hmm
what have you been up to?
Well, pretty much I've had some time to do a lot of reflecting, and which is great because the last 3.5 years have been absolutely crazy and nonstop touring and recording. So it's kind of strange to have a moment to actually meditate retrospectively and consider all of those what things meant and what they mean now, and probably will have a little bit more headspace for what's to come in the future. So that's good. But really, just been writing and playing a lot of music. It's been really cool to not be in front of a crowd, but just the bunch of us really just jamming out and exploring some things and having a good time that way, and learning different ways to actually communicate with fans and give performances and put them out because it's such a weird medium right now to try and do that. So I don't
That's
know.
how it
So yeah,
is. Like, when, of course, you can complain about sitting inside and being bored, but it's like, look at all the things that you're grateful for. It's like, I'm grateful for little things like Wi Fi and Netflix, but then I'm grateful for my job, my mental health, my friends, like all this stuff. So, yeah, even though it's been kind of catastrophe this year, like there are a lot of things to be grateful for. So, I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but being
so
real.
true. So
Yeah.
true.
One thing already to look forward to 2021, your new album. Hell yes. It's exciting. April 16th, that's the week of my birthday. So happy birthday to me.
Yes.
You did that on purpose, right?
Yes, it was on
Yeah.
purpose.
So did you do this album? Did you record this album when the world is crazy, or did you do it beforehand, or when did this get started?
Both actually. We started recording August 2019. Just finding time in between touring where we could record, which is very common for probably a lot of people. Certainly us, but pretty much it was the point where everything halted. I think what was that in spring of this year. Yeah, so we kind of didn't. Things were crazy. We didn't know if we could finish the album right away, so we kind of waited it out. And a couple of months ago, we were actually able to fly back out to LA, which is where we recorded the entirety of the album to finish it and do the last two tracks. So it is kind of actually freshly finished in a way, but we've had much more time to focus on the album in so many ways, given the amount of time that we've had. Uh, so that's been at least beneficial in that way. So both.
Okay. I'm always so anxious to like jump the gun and be like, tell me all about it. So I know you can only probably say so much, but is there something special about this album that you didn't do previously with your EPs or your first album, or like what? I kind of want to just hear more details about the new album.
Yeah, we wanted to take a more cinematic approach to this album. We thought, well, if this is a cinematic approach, and what film is this scoring? Well, it's pretty much scoring itself. I mean, this is the Battle at Garden's Gate. This is the soundtrack to the Battle at Garden's Gate. And when you hear it, you'll hear a lot of the stories. And in the way that it was written lyrically is one thing, but sonically, we wanted a more orchestral approach on into this. And the strange thing is we've always wanted to do an album like this, but we didn't think initially that would be be well received at all. And I think because of the narrative that we've built with people, I mean, all around the world, and the conversations and that we've had, and their familiarity with what we do and who we are, I think that's going to be a huge deal. And putting this album into better perspective for people. So now I think it's more appropriate to put this album out. But I don't think it would work this. I don't think it would be. We would have never done it initially. But I mean, there's a lot of different things that we've done on this. But the album itself, it's kind of a mythology. It's really talking about a parallel universe. It's a bit of an analogy. And these are cultures and civilizations of another world that are similar to ours. And it's talking about themes of war, industry, wars of industry, wars of religion, the industry of war. We're talking about the natural world, the protection of the natural world. And that's kind of what Gardens Gate is. And there's conflicts and there's themes that transcend so much time and are very human. But it is a very dynamic album, I believe, and each song stands on its own. Each song is a bit of a story and a bit of its own piece in this puzzle. And there was nothing we wanted to put on the album that wouldn't have its very important place.
Yeah. Look how far you've come. I just remember the first time we played Highway 2 and I'm thinking, oh my God, what a cool band. I'm thinking, oh my God, they're so young. And we're like, let's just see what happens because they have so much potential. And now look at you. It's only been like a few years and just like, damn, what a crazy last few years.
Yeah, very, very. Lots of fun though.
Yeah. So when you have this album come out, I know usually what happens is you have like a tour to follow and it's kind of hard telling how things are going to go in the next year or so. But if you could predict like how 2021 is going to go, like when do you think you're going to be back on the road and in front of an audience?
We've heard a lot of talk about, which is, I'll preface this with it's further out than we would want it to be, but it sounds like fall of 2021 might be realistic for touring again. But I think it's going to be once touring starts out or begins to sort of start up again, we'll probably see a limited number of people in a venue at a time, spread out, and so that it'll be weird for sure. And I know once things start up, it's going to be different than it was, and it's constantly changing all the time. But it's going to be certainly different. So it's been interesting to this year. It's been interesting to see how many different mock-up of schedules we've had. Just anticipating the touring thing again. And it's like now there's this dumpster fire of throwaway tour schedules and things, and it's all theoretical. So it's been really interesting. But that's, I think, sounds realistic as far as touring is concerned. But next year, I mean, I think, realistically, we are already kind of working on the next thing, we're always working on the next thing. But visually, we're able to focus on this album now and put a lot out to come in the next, couple of months for sure.
Yeah, and that's
it's exciting,
Like everybody that's watching, good luck on getting a ticket because you guys are kind of hard to see. Because especially when you were at smaller venues like Marathon Music Works, like I remember I was on the air when like tickets went on sale for one of your shows at Marathon. I'm like, oh yeah, it's time. Like, let's see what's available. Sold out. Oh, a second show sold out. It's like, so now if we have like limited capacity and people are like eager already to get back to concerts. So yeah, that's going to be interesting getting tickets.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot really quick. Who's your favorite band like right now?
Jeez, favorite band right now. I think the Lemon Twigs probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. There's so many good bands. It's almost impossible to answer. And it's almost like selfish of me. I should be like, I can't give you the answer, because it's like I would leave so many people out. There's a lot of really, really great artists. And this is so weird because how many artists would we see coming out of the woodworks? I mean, rising up, right now, if it weren't for all of this craziness, what, and maybe that's maybe there are artists right now that are just about, work. I mean, they've had this time. Maybe they're on. That's how it goes. They're like playing in the garage, or the basement, or whatever. Not just. I mean, all kinds of artists, even beyond the musical. It's kind of, yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Probably the Lemon Twigs. I mean, they're really great.
Mm-hmm. Well, another thing I've noticed too is a lot of artists that are, doing the same thing that everybody is, like they have a lot of free time and they just kind of use their own creativity to come up with something new, like a lot of covers and like hearing acoustic just an artist with their guitar, an acoustic cover that you would just not expect. I'm like, this is really great. And this should continue to be a thing because I love an acoustic song and I love a cover song. So I think that's really cool that they're doing that too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, there's been like a lot of I think you're right. And yeah, when you say that, I'm thinking, yeah, there's people that are kind of moving outside of these comfort zones and trying all these new things. And yeah, because that's where we're at this point. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to probably let you go if you're in East. I know that we can't really go much of anywhere right now, but I know like there's so many cool spots in East Nashville, like Rose Pepper,
Yeah.
Five Daughters. Like, what are some other places in East Nashville that you usually like to go to?
Cafe
Do you have
Rose.
any favorites?
Really like Cafe Rose. Yeah. Cafe
Yeah.
Rose is good. And what are some other places? There's a lot of great places. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because we really kind of just came here this year, which has been, of course, very weird. So, and then now it's like, it'd be good to do more exploring. And so hopefully that's a thing, that we can do eventually. But it feels almost, it's almost like we've been cheated a little bit. Like we get to fly in and out of cities all over the world, but you're there for such a short period of time. It's like every once in a while you really get to go do something. And now it's like, okay, you're here in Nashville and you can't really do much right now. So, it hasn't
Nashville's
really
a hard
changed.
city to keep up with, for sure. It's a very hard city to keep up with.
Yeah. Yes. It's
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, awesome. It was good to talk to you. Good to I wish it could be in person, but this is kind of our norm now. I didn't want to be the person to geek out in my Greta Van Fleet hoodie, but I had to. I don't care to be that person or not. But cool. Well, it was so good to talk to you. I'm so excited for the new album. My Way Soon is playing on Buzz whenever you're in town and want to listen to the Buzz. And yeah, it's good to talk to you, man.
Good to talk to you too, Hayley. Thank you for having me.